life's perplexities and temptations, Jesus help me. In hours of loneliness, weariness, and trials, Jesus help me. When my heart is cast down by failure, at seeing no good come from my efforts, Jesus help me. When others fail me, and thy grace alone can assist me, Jesus help me. When I throw myself on thy tender love as Father and Savior, Jesus help me. When I feel impatient and my cross irritates me, Jesus help me. When sickness and loneliness overcome me, Jesus help me. Always in weakness, falls, and shortcomings of every kind, Jesus help me and never forsake me. And we'll just close this with an Our Father. Our
Father,
Father,
who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Is there any agenda amendments need to be made?
Not from the administration.
Okay.
One thing I did want to add, just briefly touch on the VRBOs. just
Okay.
Where we see where, went ahead and
Okay.
on that.
Put that back in the mayor's report then?
Yeah.
Okay, okay. All right, I just missed a call from Miss Smith, I guess she's running late. Anybody heard from
No,
her?
she's out of town. If we need her, she can get on a conference call if need.
Okay, okay, thank you. All right, first up, guest, we have Lillian Bice, national runner-up in the spelling competition. Congratulations. She must have her mother's brain.
That's not right.
Oh,
I got to pick on my boy EJ. Great job.
All right. Whereas the city of Bay St. Louis would like to recognize Lillian Price, 8th grade student at Hancock Middle School, for her work, dedication, and determination. Whereas Lillian placed high enough on her written exam to earn a spot in the first ever spelling bee competition for the State Junior Beta Convention. This was held at the Mississippi Coast Coliseum and Convention Center in Biloxi in March of 2023. At the convention, Lillian took home first place in the spelling bee category, and whereas winning this competition sent her on the National Beta Junior Convention held in Louisville, Kentucky on June 27, 2023, to compete in the National Spelling Bee category, where Lillian took home second place overall. And now, therefore, I, Michael J. Fall, City of Bay St. Louis, along with the City Council, do hereby recognize and congratulate Lillian Bice on the outstanding achievement and want to wish her the best of luck in her future endeavors.
Thank you. Great job. Parents want to come? Come on up here.
Spell so bad, spell check can't help most of the time. Dude, I'm terrible. But I was good at math.
Get in here, Jay.
good, I'll send it to you, Melissa.
Get in here.
Awesome.
Good job. Congratulations, y'all.
That is,
Great accomplishment. Thank y'all.
Yes.
thank y'all.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor. Next up, we'll have Plan and Zoning. A is a motion to follow Plan and Zoning's recommendation and approve the application for special exception and variance to the zoning ordinance as submitted by Paul Robinson, located at 810 North Beach Boulevard, portion number 144P-019-051.001. It was approved 5-0. Is anybody here representing this application? Okay, thank you. Paul Robinson, thanks, sir. Anybody here opposed to this application? What's the pleasure of the council?
Motion to follow planning zoning recommendation.
All right, motion by Ms. Seula, follow plan and zoning recommendation and approve.
I'll second the last part he got out.
Okay.
Yeah,
Second,
Any
Mr. Hoffman. Any discussion? Vote the motion.
Aye.
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 Aye. 5-0, passes. Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Robinson. Next up, item B, motion to follow plan and zone's recommendation and deny the application for subdivision plat approval and variance to the zoning ordinance as submitted by Maketis Smith, located at 501 Thomas Street, parcel 144M-0-19-243.000. It was denied 5-0 at Plan and Zoning. Anybody here representing this application? Okay. Anybody here in opposition to this application? Okay. What's the pleasure of the council?
Make a motion to follow planning zoning recommendation.
Okay, motion, Mr. Seal, to follow plan and zoning recommendation and deny the application. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Lewis. Any discussion?
Yeah, discussion. We've had two of the applications, basically the same applications. 312 Thomas Street on April 8th, 2021 was denied. And application on Felicity and Dunbar, September 6th, 2022 denied. Basically the same reason for the small lots.
Yes, you can come up, speak for a moment, please.
Everyone, my name is Magda Smith, and the lot actually is not small. The lot is 100 by 100.
Yes.
Actually, next to me is right now is building 50 by 100. So I don't understand what's the opposition. I see all over Bay St. Louis builders building 50 by 100 lot splitting. So is this a bias situation, or what is the status? I understand it since 2010 or after Katrina. However, I feel like this is a bias status we're standing by, because other builders who's building in the community in large amount of them, I see split in so many tight space. So I don't understand why you guys denying us. We are small family. We are not selling the property. We're going to live in property. I have 2 kids. I'm going to split it. I'm going to build for my older kids. Right now, she is in Tulane getting her master. My son, he just turned 17, so they can live there. We live in 1,000 Dunbar, 50 by 100 lot. So I don't understand. If I'm building to make profit out of them, again, but we are not making no profit out of them. We consistently, you can come and see, we renovating the property and updating the area, keeping, Mr. Seal can speak because he passed by all the time.
Yes, ma'am.
So we are building for our own good, not to profit out of them. You can deny someone who's out there trying to make profit out of them. We live in the community. We invest in the community.
Yes.
So I feel like this is targeted, sorta. I don't mean that way, but
Yes.
I felt that way.
Yes, ma'am, and I don't think it's that at all. I think some lots may have been platted 50 foot from when they was platted years ago when it was developed, and they may have never been joined to another piece of property, so they might be building on them currently by you now. In the
Legal lot of
past,
record.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's a legal lot of record. Anything that was originally platted as 50-foot a lot, you can build as long as you follow all the zoning variances. As part of a legal lot of record. The lot down the street from you was a legal lot of record. It was a 50-foot lot. So as long as they followed all the zoning requirements for front yard, side yard, and rear yard setback, legally they're allowed to build on it. But when you go to subdivide a parcel of property, that's when there's an issue.
So am I allowed to put 2 house on the
No,
same
ma'am,
lot?
because it's an R1 single-family residential lot.
Separate single-family home
No,
in
ma'am.
each 2
Not
lot?
Not on one parcel
On
of
one
property.
parcel? So,
Yes, ma'am, unfortunately, and then, the lot average in your area is 87.5 feet. 10 lots down, 10 lots across the street, 87.5 feet. I look at the averages of all the lots, right? Does your lot fit into the average? If the whole area, the 10 parcels on your side, 10 parcels across the street, average 50 feet, it'd been in conformance, but it's not in conformance. It's 87.5 feet is the average lot size in your neighborhood. And that's the way I do it, right? And that's, because you look at a neighborhood, it's conformity of a neighborhood. Old Town is platted in 25-foot and 50-foot lots. So you'll see a lot of houses in Old Town. And your zoning is different. R1 requires 100 front foot, R2 requires 75 front foot, and R3 is 50. So it's a difference in each zoning classification in each area. We're getting ready to do an application that's an R2, which is required a 75 front foot. So if I go do the averages on a front foot, it's more in line with the neighborhood versus what's being built, you know. And that's when I got a spreadsheet showing all the averages of the properties. That way, you know, on your side of the street, the average is 75. On the other side of the street, the average is 100, right? So your average, and an average of 87.5. So that's how I did the calculation. I was at planning and zoning denied it through public input. And we're just following the recommendation of planning and zoning, and it fits in the guidelines that I use for planning and zoning, how to, you know, because the whole town is different, the way it's platted and the size of lots.
Exactly.
Yes, ma'am.
So that's,
But in
I don't
that
think
area,
it's
it's not. In that area, the average lot footage is 87.5.
Yes.
And that's what I look at when I personally, and everybody else votes their own way. But
Okay.
I vote on my data and my homework. That's how I vote.
so if I buy properties in 47 by.
And it's a
whatever,
legal
I
lot, yes,
can
ma'am.
build
It's
it.
platted, you can build on it legally.
Yes.
As long, you know, as long as your side yards, front yards, rear yard.
Yeah,
Yes, as long as it's a legal lot of, it's called a legal lot of record.
we will hold on building,
Okay.
we will hold on building, but I'll come here often and see if
Awesome.
anything else
Yep.
has changed, because I've been here.
Yep.
This is not the first time I've been in this hall.
Mhm.
Yes,
I've
ma'am.
been many times, and whether near to my property or in my case. But
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
I hope that you guys doing the decision you making in good faith.
Yeah, I can
Yeah.
show you what I do.
Thank you.
Thank
Yes,
you.
ma'am. Thank you. Okay. Motion and a second. Any further discussion? Vote to motion.
Aye.
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 Aye. Motion to deny passes 5-0. C, motion to follow plan and zoning's recommendation and approve the application for the special subdivision plat, approval and variance to the zoning ordinance as submitted by Maurice Singleton located at 443, 445, 447 Esterbrook Street, parcel number 149E-0-29-390.000, 149E-0-29-391.000, and 149E-0-29-392.000, approved 4-1 at plan and zoning. I see Mr. Maurice is in the present representing the application. Anybody here oppose the application? I know we have received 4 or 5 letters of support for this application. What's the pleasure of the council?
Motion to approve.
Okay, motion by Mr. Seal to follow plan and zoning's recommendation and approve. Do I have a second? Okay. All right, no second. So, the motion will fail for lack of a second. Do I have, any other motions on this? Is there a motion to deny the application and not follow P and Z's recommendation?
I'll make a motion to deny.
A motion to deny by Mr. Lewis. Is there a second for that?
I'll second. This, with discussion.
Second, Mr. Noblock with discussion.
This one is a very similar, variance request to the Thomas Street application. However, the zoning's messed up in this. This is zoned R2, and to do a plot, to do a split on this would legally allow anybody who purchased the property or to build on it 2 R2 residences. And so I would not be in favor of that because it would be too tight of a fit. Regardless of what anybody says that they're gonna do with the property, if they sell the property, then the next person, or even after we leave here, they wanna change their mind, they can go ahead and build a duplex on there, which would not be in compliance with our current ordinance.
Yes, no, I agree. And Ms. Reese, do you want to address, Ms. Singleton, I'm sorry, do you want to address that real quick?
Yes,
Ah.
there were two items on this. Hopefully you guys did your homework because there are two irregular lots. And the first thing we're asking is to make those lots regular. There's not a mention of that. And so I can't believe that y'all are denying this without even taking up that point, which leads me to believe you didn't do your homework. You just put this in a 40-foot or whatever your bias is about the 40-foot lot. If you look at the makeup of Easterbrook Street, Easterbrook Street is an historical African-American neighborhood that was made up of 40-foot lots, up and down, starting at the St. Francis Street. That was a 60-foot lot that's made up, that's a house built on a 60-foot lot there, which was a 20-foot lot for a church, a 40-foot lot for Ms. Annie Mae's house back in the day. Next to that, my Aunt Genevieve had two houses. Her granddaughter is here tonight. She had two houses on 40-foot lots. Adjacent to that was Ms. Isabel Curry had a 40-foot lot, which is now part of my family's, my mom and dad's lot. My mom and dad bought from Ms. Mattie Sams in the 1960s. She had three 40-foot lots. She sold them one 40-foot lot, 30 feet off the second 40. Next to that is a 40-foot lot. Two lots down, next to that, Tal Roberto's lot is made up of three 40-foot lots. And adjacent to two doors down is a 40-foot lot that Cleveland Williams, the late Cleveland Williams owned. Going down the street, there's a 40-foot lot, Deuce Mosley, and one lot over is a 35-foot lot. The lot, I grew up from 5 years old to 18 years old. I walked that street every day, past 40-foot lots, past role models who Cleveland Williams family educated on that street. 3 family members lived on that 40-foot lot. My family, my mom and dad raised 11 kids on that 40-foot and 30-foot lot. 9 of us went to college, have college degrees. Those 40-foot lots were good for them. So what you're telling me is that it's not good enough for y'all because the makeup of the neighborhood is changing. And Gary, to address your concern, I am not moving. That block is mine. I live adjacent to the property. I'm not interested in selling that. My middle son and I are building there, and my son is 42 years old. We're not interested in selling. Most of our neighborhood has been sold off already. So if that's your only concern, I don't think that's fair, reasonable to us because we're gonna live there.
Yes.
My son is gonna live there.
Yeah.
So I understood the hesitation in your vote, but your vote is very unreasonable and unfair for people who grew up in that neighborhood. You're telling me that it was good enough for us back then, but it's no longer good enough for us because it's changing and you don't give a care about who lives in that neighborhood. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yeah,
And so you're telling me also I have 2 irregular lots, and I've asked this body, and planning and zoning had the foresight to see that I have a lot that goes 40 feet, it goes 118 feet, and then goes behind my second piece of property 95 feet. So you want, Kyle, I appreciate you to look at me when I talk to you because it looks like you deny. Be man enough to look at me in my face.
it's okay.
What it is.
No, hold up, Mr. Singleton, hang on.
I'm not gonna.
Well, I just appreciate you look at me because it looked like you're not paying any attention
I'm
to
looking
me.
at the packet of what you're describing.
Okay, that's reasonable.
Right, yeah.
Mhm.
But I think it's reasonable to at least address the issue of the irregular lots. So if you're telling me you're denying both items tonight, it appears to me that you didn't do your homework,
Well-
which is embarrassing to me and an insult.
Yeah, well,
Because I paid $340 for the applications, and you did not take enough time to take a look at that.
yes, sir. And I think what Mr. Noblock's point was, is what I told you when I spoke to you earlier, the R2 is that we cannot, the only thing we can do is deny it, because once we approve it, if it was approved, legally, we have no recourse to say you can only build single-family homes on it, because it is designated R2, which is multifamily, so.
Well, your
That's-
recourse is my word. My word is that I'm building single-family homes.
And
One for me, my wife and I can build our permanent home
Yes, sir.
on the 61 feet. My son, my middle son and I are building that. It's not for sale.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And I understand that, and like I told you earlier, I respect you and I take your word for it. The council has been misled in the past. Nothing against you, and I can't hold it against you. It's just that we learned the lesson that when we went to legal and asked what can be done, there was nothing that could be done after the fact because we approved the subdivision of the lots and it was in the R2 district. And we did deny one on Main Street for 40 foot for Mr. David Rush, I think, a while back. So we have denied 40-foot lots in other areas also of town, not just this. And I agree, the lots being deeper, even though they narrow on the street, it does make them deeper and closer to the square footage of what is required for the area. And I do take that into account with my decision. So,
Yeah, the average square foot of the lots in that area, current lots are 7,977 square feet. The proposed lots are 7,942 square feet, so they're 35 foot shy of the average of the neighborhood lots.
I mean,
so say,
let me say
make them
this though,
deeper.
the 50-foot, the one lot would be 6780. The 40-foot lot would be 6780 square foot. The 50 by 169 where I live now would be 8450.
Yes.
50 by 169, where I currently live, I would put that 51 feet behind me, would bring that to 8,450 square feet. The 61 square foot left to the left of the house I live would bring that to 10,309 square feet. So two of the three lots would conform square footage wise
Yes.
to current standard, or with the recommended standard.
Yes.
So the only lot that wouldn't conform would be the adjacent to the 40-foot lot that I already have in place, and it would be,
Which is already 40
which is a
foot.
lot of
Road
record.
road
Yeah.
frontage is 40 foot, it's
Yeah.
just L-shaped in the back, yes,
Yep.
on that back
Yes.
L-shaped part, so, yes, sir.
And my name is
Ms.
Von
Singleton?
Redis Singleton, and, I mean, I don't understand why we have L-shaped lots that you won't let that part of that lot be for one, going straight down. And, also, I don't understand why we have an Airbnb that's right there. That is really an eyesore.
Yes, ma'am,
And then they turned around and made it an R3.
yes, ma'am.
You know, so I don't know where it really is sad
Yes.
because of what we're asking, that y'all would just automatically decline it without really doing any kind of homework to see what we really wanted.
Yes, ma'am.
And I'm really shocked and surprised, but you're saying that it's okay to have two L-shaped lots.
Well, I think there could be other ways to do it. You could add 20 foot to your current lot and give you a 70-foot lot there and almost 80-foot lot there, and then straight them all to the back and not be 40 foot on the road, or even give 10 foot and make it a 50 foot on the left lot. And there's other ways you can configure it to make it go all the way to the back and get rid of the L shapes without making four partials out of it, I believe would be probably a better solution.
What-
But you would lose a lot. You wouldn't
Yeah, I
have
would
four
lose a lot.
lots. You wouldn't have four lots that way.
Let me say across the street from me, directly across the street from my 101-foot lot, there's a 40-foot lot that's owned by a lady in New Orleans. My neighbor across the street from me, Tal Roberto, owns a 50-foot lot there. So he has a lot of record that's 50 feet by 132 feet.
Yes.
50 feet by 132 feet. My lot is 169 feet deep. I mean,
Yes.
so he could build, those two could build what they want on their lots of record, and I'm right across the street and you won't grant me a 40-foot. But worse than that is you won't grant me a regular lot by allowing me to subdivide those so that it's straight shot.
Yes, sir.
That can't be
Would-
taken care of. I paid $340.
I understand.
Part of that one was to have that done, the other was to subdivide, to create a new subdivision.
Yes, sir.
So
Yeah.
you're not addressing the issue of the irregular lots, which was a separate issue.
Yes, sir.
I paid $140 for one item, $200 for the other.
Yes, sir.
So why is that issue not taken up tonight? Because
It's
it's simply
all-
that y'all didn't do your homework. I do, that needs to be dealt with,
Yes, sir. I mean,
because that has not been addressed at all by you all tonight.
yes, sir. Like I say, I did my homework. I looked at it a few times.
Well, you did. You
out
came
and
by,
met
and I
with
appreciate you
and
talked
walked
with
the
me.
property with you and everything else. And I haven't made the vote yet. So none of us, we made motions and seconds. We haven't made the vote yet. But like I said,
Y'all didn't make a vote
there's
yet?
other ways. No, sir. No.
I think there was a vote.
No, we had a motion and a second. We haven't had a vote yet. So
Haven't been a vote yet.
haven't had a vote yet. So we're in discussion phase right now. So Like I say, there would be other ways to straighten the lots out without going with the full partial, so that's just an option, so, okay? Yes, sir. Yes, sir, understand, so, okay, any further discussion by the council? The motion on the floor is to deny, override plan and zones, to deny the application. Vote the motion.
Nay.
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 Nay. So, it fails 5-0, so, let's start back over. Do I have a motion
Motion to approve the application as approved by planning and zoning.
motion to follow plan and zones recommendation, to follow the recommendation and approve the application submitted by Mr. Singleton? Do I have a second?
I'll second it, and I'll tell you why. I had a
Second.
house on,
Hoffman? Okay.
discussion. I had a
Discussion.
house on Estabrook that I redid. Now, this was a few years back, but it was on a 38-foot lot, and
Yep.
it's conducive with what's in the neighborhood and what's around.
Okay,
I'd hate to see it with duplexes on it, but I do believe Mr. Singleton's a man of his word, and
yes, sir.
I think it's gonna be a family property, so
Yes, sir. Okay.
So,
that's where I am with it.
in the past, we have, and if planning and zoning recommendations like if there was an R2 and R3 parcel of property, and we stated, the owner did state that it would be an R1 single-family residential, and we made that part of the minutes. That's not legal?
No,
No, it's not.
it's not legal.
I mean, we did it for years, right, and we never
No,
knew that.
you cannot change the zoning by saying.
We didn't change
in
the zoning.
That's
What-
exactly what you're
What could be
saying.
built by right.
And I
What
don't
is-
think we
is-
can do deed
yeah.
restrictions either.
Yeah, and that's the only reason, I mean,
Deed
for years we
restriction.
did, because
Yes.
it said that the owner, for the record, the owner would say, yes, I agreed to put a single-family home, and that's was part of the minutes.
Yeah.
And that's,
And I
And-
think we did it for a long time,
Yeah,
like
we
you were
did.
correct, and then we seen
Right.
some go up on the highway here and
Okay.
started questioning, and then found out,
Right.
once you do it,
Yeah.
you really
Okay.
can't hold their feet
It's
to the
no,
fire.
it's not legally binding.
Exactly, you know,
And I'll,
it's
yeah.
good faith.
Right.
so.
and I'll echo
Well, and
what
I'd
the
still
concerns
stand
were.
by
Mhm.
that maybe they just need to go back and redraw this so they can incorporate the back lots or whatever, because I did do my homework on this. And I do understand what's happening. I've never supported R2 splits this small.
Mhm.
So, actually, I'm not in favor of it because it's going against the ordinance. It's opening up the door to more splits that are so small that Mr. Singleton's always has a good nature. But if something happened and they sold those properties off, then there's no legal recourse for the neighbors that stay. If something happened, and then you're gonna have the same situation here, and it's not gonna be conducive to this comprehensive plan we're working on.
And I echo those same concerns that were brought up just now by Councilman Nalbach and earlier as well, in terms of what the potential of that could be. Again, with it being R2, and I don't want to use past experiences, but we've been told things in the past that it's going to be, and it wasn't. I'm not saying this is the case, but when it's on paper, it's what's on paper. And so that's a concern there too, in terms of what the R2 would potentially allow the duplex and with that very small lot width. So that was my biggest concern on that. And of course, knowing that we can stipulate anything we want on the motion doesn't hold the fact that it could potentially be sold off and a duplex could be placed there.
Yes.
So that's my biggest concern on this
Mhm.
application. I do understand the configuration of the lots. I do understand that. I do understand that provides somewhat of a hardship too as well on that. So I'm not saying that that's not the case, but again, it's what that potential usage of that could be that wasn't discussed here tonight.
Okay. For just a second, yes, sir, real quick.
On the square footage of each parcel, it's on that sheet.
Mhm.
I had a survey done, and it surveyed lists as a square foot
I'm looking at it.
of each. So the back property is already defined with the request tonight.
Yes. Yes, they're including the square footage of the total
Yeah, the
lot.
square footage of each. So the
Yes.
back property is already decided upon in the breakup of 4 lots.
Yes. You just got long, narrow lots,
Yeah.
was turned it
So
into.
I own 191 by 169. 40 is a lot of record on the left side. I'm asking for a second 40, a 61, and a 50 where I currently live. Each of those go back 160, well, with the new configuration that Chinichi Engineering did. Each of them go back 169, so they all are from street to rear, the same dimension.
Yes.
So then now so we have 2 irregular lots or 3 irregular lots now that will all be 40 by 169, 40 by 169, 61 by 169, and 50 by 169. And the
Two of them
square
already
footage,
currently there.
the square footage should have been itemized
Yeah.
in the
It's-
Chinichi Engineering information, as well as in the information that
Yes, sir.
Ms. Stotz presented y'all too.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Okay, any further discussion amongst the council? We have a motion on the floor to approve the application, which is Plan Zone's recommendation. Vote to motion.
Aye.
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 Nay.
Aye. Motion passes 4-0.
4-1.
4-1, I'm sorry. 4-1. Thank you for pointing that out. Okay, thank y'all. Mayor's report.
Thank y'all, and I apologize for the terseness in my voice tonight.
Thank you.
Thank
That's Sunday.
Might not make that one, huh?
I know.
All right, mayor's report, motion to surplus and dispose of city assets to allow the city administration to dispose of city assets, 1 Glock Model 22 handgun with 3 magazines, serial number HMR 582, number HMR 605, city asset number 200-605, are recommended for disposal according to Mississippi Code 45-9-131. I think I read the email about that. That was the officers'
That's the 2 officers.
guns.
Yes.
Okay.
The code was, attached to and everything stating we can do it. We can-
Okay.
So they are gonna be sold to the families.
To the
To the
family.
family.
Okay.
Good. All right.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion, Mr. Hoffman.
Second.
Y'all was ready. Second, Mr. Noblock. Any further discussion? Vote to motion.
Aye.
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 Aye. Motion passes 5-0. B, motion to authorize administration to submit FY 24 Go Mesa grant application for $4 million for a citywide sewage rehabilitation project. And this will be in conjunction with the ARPA money to try to complete the whole system, correct?
That is.
Okay.
That's additional estimate of $4 million to go after, try to complete it.
And that,
Okay.
in
And
that
there's
email is
and also no match on this.
Yeah,
No match.
No
Okay.
match if we're fortunate enough to get it.
for
Okay.
either one of these. Right.
Good deal. All right, pleasure of the council.
So this
Okay.
application, you have a copy of the application?
Yes,
So number 6,
6.
have any other state or federal funds been identified for this? And that's no.
Correct, for the extra that's needed.
The
Okay.
ARPA
but-
money don't count.
But the next one says yes, $8.5 million. So that should be a yes.
Yeah, it should be.
'Cause the other one's
yes.
got a yes.
You marked no, but entered in amount. Yeah.
Yes.
Mhm.
So it's just, yeah,
This one right here.
A typo right there. You see
Alright.
that?
We can get that correct.
Yes.
Okay,
come on, people.
yes. All right.
How many people got to look at this information goes on these dockets?
Mhm. Yep.
All right, we need a motion to approve.
Yes, sir.
That's corrected.
Yep, all right. Motion to approve by Mr. Seal with correction that, what was that, number 7?
Number 6
Number
should have a
6 should be
yes.
yeah.
Number 6 should be check marked yes, that other funds were.
And I'm assuming that was
Available and
because we did get the 8.5 million.
Yes.
It was confusing because the next one says,
Mm-hmm.
had yes on it in amount as well, so.
Yeah, okay. Do I have a second?
Second.
Hey, you know, you can edit it on here.
Second, Mr. Hoffman?
Can you?
I did, I just edited it.
Okay.
Update it per Gary.
Yeah. All right, vote the motion.
Aye.
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 you first.
Motion passes 5-0. You're not used to that one,
You're
huh?
first, Gene.
Start from the other end,
Yeah.
switch everybody around.
C, motion to authorize the administration to submit FY 24 Go Mesa grant application for $750,000 for lift station 43 repairs.
Yes,
Okay.
that's the main lift out by the casino
Casino.
off Felicity Street.
Been having problems with that one for years, huh?
It's
With
just-
some
Yeah, it'd be a
pipes.
complete
It's
rebuild,
hard.
Yeah,
expanded as well.
okay.
Motion.
All right, motion by Mr. Seal. Do I have a second?
Second.
A second by Mr. Hoffman. Any further discussion? Vote to motion.
Aye.
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 Aye, motion passes 5-0. Mayor, you talked about
Yeah,
putting
look,
vacation rental back
you know,
on.
through the comprehensive plan that's come out, you know, we close to 500 VRBOs, give, probably by the time we get that, it will have that many. But anyway, what it is, you know, I think a couple years ago, we looked at trying to regulate it some and this and that, all. I think we're looking at possibility of trying to initiate a license for it, to where they gotta be registered. And what it will do is, give us the opportunity to make sure that they're inspected, that they're, advertising for the amount that can really be there, make sure they have adequate parking. I think parking is our number one concern with these things now.
Yes.
It's gonna, you know, with the funds we can take and
I think adequate parking and occupancy, when they advertise
Yeah.
15 and 20
Yeah,
people staying
yeah.
in a 1,200 square foot house.
it's the
don't
same
seem
thing, I think, with
right.
Mr. Triplett and them, you know,
Yeah.
Per
that-
code, you need 200 square foot per person,
Yeah.
and that does not include living room, kitchen, and utility
so,
areas.
Mm-hmm.
And it's gonna be a pain in the rear, how do you freaking regulate that?
Do we,
But it's-
Yeah.
that's
well,
really my
it would
business,
give
having
us,
the manpower.
I
there.
know, right?
Do we-
it would allow us to get the, you know, extra and that to keep up with this. Also, you know, regulate it with maybe an extra officer as well that can regulate it, plus, you know, building and all that can go out and help regulate this and watch these things. Because again, you know, they're very good for our community, as we all see, we all know. We don't have the hotels to do, you know,
All right.
for the
Some of the
occupancy
cities
that's
that-
needed.
Talked about it at the, MML, was saying that they either do it through the building code office,
Mm-hmm.
or they do it through the fire department.
Correct.
And they have.
Yeah, 'cause the fire occupancy code.
And that's what we're just
set for
We're
them.
just gonna put together a package and hopefully we can move forward on it during this year while we're working in workshop with budget and everything moving forward and get input. And I'll look back at what Heather had drawn up
Go
and
at
I'll
it
take
again.
what's in that, looked at it some more. It's pretty good, you know, and see if
And I
it just
think
needs to be
overall,
tweaked.
just us having something in place and the ability not to issue a permit to them or whatever we call it, might make the homeowners police their own properties better than just letting people run wild.
Mhm.
And also having the ability to deny it will be good. Right now, there's no rules. It's just a free-for-all. You got a house, you
It
do
is.
what you want to do, and
Right.
you go on. You know, you put it on the website, and you rent it for whatever.
You
So
know, and again,
we need some kind of regulation
it,
to help
it's
it.
just overflowing of vehicles in neighborhoods that's
Mhm.
cannot, you know, the property cannot handle,
Yeah.
you know, with what they're saying can stay there,
Yeah.
so.
Mhm.
I guess
Well,
the
those
biggest-
type of issues is a police department issue.
Huh?
So in other words, if somebody's blocking the street, then the police department needs to come out there with tow trucks or whatever and start opening up the street, because they
The-
can't block it for emergency vehicles.
Yes,
But
and
as
for
far
the
as,
most part, state,
Mhm.
there's off-street parking, you know. Off-street parking is allowed and this and that.
Which,
'cause we
the-
kinda beat this thing to death. You know.
Yeah, we're not gonna beat it
Next year.
together, we're gonna come back with what we think will
I
work.
mean, I think at the
And-
end of the day, when we were talking about was something simple, that they just register it and you follow the laws on the books that are currently. So in other words, there's loud music and the police can go out there and cite tickets.
There's already ordinances for that.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think we need to limit how many people can stay in a house.
Well,
Well, I
that's
think you
limited by
do.
Residential building code.
yes.
That's,
As residential building code says how many people can stay in a house. 200 square foot per person.
And how often is that enforced, Doug?
Again, that's when you got a house
I
that's
think
got
you're opening
15.
yourself up to
I
a
know.
major lawsuit. You saw how it was last time,
Oh, yeah.
you know,
It's- I
I
think
think
well,
you
so.
just
you
keep
know,
it
but we're not the
simple,
only ones
register.
that have these. But again, you can't put out there where you got 6, 8 cars and you only have room for 2 cars to park and you're blocking up, you know, neighborhoods, this and that. You
No,
got
I
people
agree
sleep.
with that.
Right.
Yeah, I think we all agreed something needs to be done.
Yeah.
But we're just gonna put something together, get it sent out, and then we can work on that from there.
And I think at some point we have to do something, like most nobody said, we might suffer some ramifications from it, but at some point, we've been talking about it for 7 years and haven't really done
Longer than that.
nothing yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, longer than that, 13.
2013, they got ordinances.
Yeah.
So we just,
And it's parking, right? You go down to anywhere, you go to a condo, right? You get 2 parking passes. Or one single-family residence is 2 parking, 2 cars, right? We did the property maintenance code, says you can't park on the grass. I mean, we have rules, like Gary said, we have the rules.
I mean, they're there.
It's just enforcing and I guess giving the people the guidelines, right, as well.
You know, this thrust it back on the owner of the property.
Right.
Because if they're getting fined for this,
Well, and then
their
you-
customers are getting
Then you can
fined.
levy the fines, right? Then you go back
Um,
and start doing some punitive,
and
you know.
same
How
way
about-
if the guests that rent the house
But I
may
think
know
it would-
they're gonna lose their money and get kicked out.
But I think
if
it'd
they
be
break
good to
some of the
know
rules or
who's out
something
there,
too,
just to
you
be
know.
able, This makes it so you can verify, yeah, they're paying their sales tax.
Exactly,
And
that's a big key
And
too.
I think
just,
part of,
you know,
part of
and
the
that's
package.
that's a state investigatory, function, but, you know, that's the only purpose that I see in it, you
And
know.
I think part of the package would be giving them the rules and regulations, parking, garbage can, noise, right? And have them, that it's not part of the ordinance, it's just, hey, this is city ordinances that you need to follow, as part of.
I
'Cause
sent
you
Mr.
know, I remember several people came in and they were saying like, companies like VRBO and, you know, that if they got a unfavorable rating,
Yeah.
then they could be kicked out.
Exactly.
And so, you know, I know every now and then you're gonna have somebody that's gonna
Yeah.
push the limit, you know, but
Oh, yeah.
man, send the police officers over there and let them start writing citations.
And I'm just-
Or warnings.
Go. I'm sorry, go ahead, Mr. Lewis.
Yeah, I was just saying, I just don't wanna make sure we have a realistic time frame. I think in the last ordinance or the proposal was a 60-day once the application is submitted that we'd have to inspect or get code. So I just don't wanna back ourselves in a corner and tie to that 60 days, and we've got 500 of these
Right.
things that
Oh, yeah.
in a matter of
Yeah,
2
right.
months we've gotta inspect. So just having a realistic time frame, and don't wanna have that hinder and then open ourselves up for, hey, we haven't gotten our permit yet, you're operating without a permit. So we just have to look at that realistic time frame on that aspect as well.
I think so, and I sent out one, the old one we have from last year, 2022, to Mr. Lewis, and maybe we can get it sent to everybody to review again. It was a pretty good bare bones ordinance, but it was something on paper that would be
Yeah.
able to be sent out. And
Yeah, I would
we
just-
can tweak it a little bit, whatever we need to do, but we need to do something.
I would comment that I think at your comprehensive plan meetings, most of the residents that showed up, they were there concerned about VRBOs.
Yes.
And because, you know, and one of the numbers came out, was 14% of your housing stock is currently VRBOs. So almost 500 units.
Yes.
That's significant. So, I mean, I wasn't here when y'all discussed it a couple of years ago or 2013, but
Yeah,
at present, it's changed. So,
exactly.
you know, putting some things, or at least who's your contact person, you know, I think part of it, having somebody that's local,
Yeah.
that if there's a problem, who can we go to?
That was the biggest
You know.
complaint people had.
Yeah.
You can't force me to have somebody local.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
okay.
You have to.
Yeah, I mean, but everybody had their own little unique
Yeah.
complaint, right?
Like I
Whatever
said,
that was.
one thing's not gonna soothe
Yeah.
everybody, but we gotta do something that's the greater good for the community,
Yeah.
and also the greater good for the full-time residents that live within these communities that need protection and quality of life given to them also. We can't forget them just because of the ones that
Right.
complain and make the noise are the ones making all the money also. We can't forget that fact, so.
Alright.
Anything else, Mayor?
That's it. Appreciate it.
Okay. Council business. Oh, I'm
You
sorry.
may wanna put this back on the agenda for the next meeting,
Yes.
since we kinda put it
Talked
in at the
about-
beginning of this meeting, cause
Yeah.
you know who's gonna be calling.
Yes. Yep.
Could you put that on the next?
Even
just-
under the council business if you want, just so we can keep discussion going
Yeah.
on it. And, send an email to Ms. Smith to maybe send that ordinance back out, or if you wanna send it back out to everyone, so we'll have it. Okay, any new business, old business, Mr. Hoffman?
I don't have anything tonight.
Okay, anything, Mr. Seal?
Nothing new.
Anything, Mr. Lewis? Anything, Mr. Noblock?
I do, and it just slipped my mind. But I gotta say this, the Crab Fest was really nice, other than it was a little bit hot.
It was hot.
A little
and,
bit.
I think you could've boiled those crabs,
Without the water.
without the flame.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let them run loose, have the crab races and boil them.
Yeah.
No, I'm kinda, I'm good.
Okay, all right. I don't have anything right now. Just, I think we had a probably good successful weekend for the 4th of July in the town, good weather. It was a little, very hot, but,
A little hot.
but it was good, so,
much
no
quiet,
rain.
It's quiet.
Yes, yes, okay, good deal. Public forum, Mr. Sam Moore. You're up, sir.
Good evening,
Good evening.
gentlemen.
Been a while.
Been a while since I've been here.
Yes, sir.
Start of an old
Good to
country
see you.
song. It's the start of an old country song there, Sam. Been
Yes.
a while.
Say what? No, I just got a couple of fish to fry. Some of you have already heard about the situation, but one of and they may appear to be insignificant as far as the way y'all are handling the whole city and all is concerned, but it's not as far as our area is concerned. One of the things, we've got a little confusion on speed limits, and I'll speak so that the chief can hear me too. But speed limits, particularly on Washington and between Washington and Chapman Road. But when Joey Boudin was on the council, somebody said, "I'll vote for you if you change it to 25." He did. He did, and it was 35 then. And I've got a bunch of folks in our neighborhood that say I won't. I just try to avoid Washington because I can't go that slow in an unpopulated area, and that's basically what it is. So I'm asking y'all, if you would, not just consider but look real closely at little continuity as far as the speed limits in that little area is concerned. For instance, on Chapman Road, all the way to Longfellow, it's 35. If you get to Washington and Chapman Road, going towards Jordan River Estates, it's 35. But going back the other way to 90, it's 25.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I've had a number of people that live in that area that asked me to see if we could change that back to 35. I think it just makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Well,
And less confusing, and maybe those folks who want to travel on Washington again without, we just have a lot of police presence there, because it is the discrepancy as far as the speed limit is concerned.
The complaints I've heard has come from the ones from Powerhouse to 90 being along that stretch by Mr. Byer, that the people don't slow down to get there. They think it's 35, so they're doing 40 and 45 by the Smiths and the Peanut Lady trailer and all that stuff. They're going fast through there. Still is one reason with the problem. The other problem is then you take golf cart maneuverability off of that road altogether, which eliminates Garden Isle from getting to the beach downtown by golf cart if you raise that speed limit to 35, because the way the ordinance is written, we would eliminate that road from there.
Well, if you go on the interstate and say the speed limit is 70 miles an hour, well, you will be lucky if you are not blown away by somebody passing you at 80.
Exactly.
But there also is a minimum speed limit too.
Yes.
And in this case right here, I can't imagine anything bad about a golf cart doing 25, which is their designated safe speed, and that contradicting with people in a vehicle that would do 35. Now, I don't know how the ordinance was written.
State law.
But it needs to be addressed, and so that these people can have some continuity and know whether they're going too fast, too slow, or whatever the case
Trust
may
me.
be.
I get calls every time they out there radaring on or patrolling Washington Street, so I know.
Who can address that?
Well, it's state law, Mr. Moore, that low-speed vehicles are below 25 miles an hour. So
Say again?
State law says, your low-speed vehicle rule says any vehicle that travels less than 24.9 miles an hour can travel on any city street that has an ordinance that's 25 miles an hour or less. Anything 25 or higher, golf carts legally cannot drive on. So if we post a speed limit at 35 miles an hour, you can no longer legally drive on Washington Street with a golf cart. Period.
Then all the people.
That's the rules,
Well,
right?
I'm just asking you make the rules.
Nope, it's a state law. State law. It's a state law.
So how do you enforce that with people coming from Jordan River Estates and from
I don't know.
Old Spanish Trail, when they see them, they stop them.
Yeah. I mean, I understand what you're saying, right? But we gotta watch what we're doing because
other actions come from them actions, you know. I mean, no, I agree.
Yeah, I understand where you're going.
And I've talked to the chief about this before, so
frankly,
it's been
it doesn't
addressed.
make any sense. It doesn't make any sense, and if you don't change it, that's
I mean, it's a legislative thing, and how they come up with that, but that's really.
You know, Sam, I was when we went and spoke to, I think Manley Barton was one of them, and we presented that particular ordinance years ago, and the speed limit was put in for golf carts at 25 miles an hour, and streets had to match that. Because technically, if it was at a higher speed, then they couldn't drive on that street. And so, I don't know if that's just coincidence, but when we sat in on those meetings, that was one of the stipulations with the ordinance that was passed. And I mean, if you read it, you'd see it. And they actually designated crossover points. It's always been kind of rough in wards 5 and 6, mainly because there's only like one. I think Washington.
Washington's it, 'cause it's gotta be at a stoplight.
Right.
And there's always, there's also been an, unwritten rule that, goes back some time, that we're not gonna give anybody a ticket. They're doing 35 miles.
Well, I think a lot of the residents spoke out years ago because they were throwing rotten fish where the police officers were parked.
Why?
Someone was throwing fish carcasses where they would park to run the radar.
That,
don't
stole
know
off
about
speed
that.
bump.
I really don't know, but I know that
Yeah, Okay.
the lack of like I said, that
yes, sir.
apparently those.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying,
Well,
but
apparently those people that live in Garden Isle, as an example, can't go forward to Longfellow in a golf cart. Is that correct?
Yeah, 'cause Longfellow's 35 too, so they
Right.
can't legally drive on Longfellow.
Yeah.
So-
It just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah,
And I would
Yeah.
think that maybe y'all could figure out some way to make it make sense. That's all.
yep,
That's
okay.
all I got
Longfellow
to
to
say.
25.
They change it all to
All right.
Change
25.
Longfellow to 25.
Reduce everything to 25 miles an hour.
Yep, that's the only way.
Need no speed
Well,
signs,
whatever it
need
is, the continuity is
Yeah.
All right,
is the key here, because you
Yes,
don't know
sir.
if you're going too fast, too slow, whatever the case may be.
yep. All right, Mr. Moore, what else you got, sir?
Moving right along.
Yeah.
Hello, I'm Sam Moore.
The only other thing
Got
I've
about a
got
minute left.
is, we have had and been fighting a situation with, a derelict vehicle
Yes, sir.
on the corner, and you're aware of it. I
And-
talked
yes,
to you
sir.
about it the other day.
And the administration's gonna work on that and address that for
Okay,
us.
and
So,
I think what you need to do, and I understand a new man on a new job and maybe not knowing all the rules, regulations and all, but explain to the gentleman,
yes,
that, is now in the,
yes.
position for,
We'll definitely,
controlling that situation, but we've got this, a vehicle that's been dormant, sitting on a corner for years
Yes, sir.
now, and it needs to be taken out, and you know where it is, it's at Chapman and Dolphin,
yes, sir.
and,
Yeah.
I've got people complaining about it, that's all.
Yes, sir.
So,
We're
and
gonna-
after years, I believe if that same vehicle was sitting on a corner down here at Main and whatever, it'd be gone.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We'll definitely work on that for you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, Mr. Sam. Thank you. Good seeing you.
It's a joy and a pleasure to see you.
Yes,
again.
sir. We'll come by and visit. Thank you, sir. That was all the public forum. City clerk's report. Motion to approve the Bay St. Louis docket of claims number 23026 dated July 5th, 2023, in the amount of $408,688.59. Do I have a motion? Motion, Mr. Seal. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Lewis. Any discussion on it? Vote the motion.
Aye.
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 Gene.
Aye.
Aye. That's 5-0. Item B is motion to approve the Bay St. Louis docket of claims number 23-027 special dated July 5th, 2023, in the amount of $2,580. Do I have a motion, Mr. Seal? Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Hoffman. Any discussion? Vote the motion.
Aye.
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 Aye, passes 5-0. Thank you. Consent agenda items A through O. I know I read the email, but can we pull B off for a little bit more discussion? The website thing?
It's up to you guys.
And D also.
The streetlights?
D and E, yeah, on the
D&E?
power, yeah.
Okay.
And I forgot to ask about C.
So, we might,
Which ones we're leaving on?
yeah, do we want to just have a little discussion real quick and then maybe vote it?
We can have a discussion.
Yeah, let's just go through each one.
Yeah, let's go through each one real quick. B, I just wanted to make sure this is not just to get a new website, but it's also to work our way to the new software operating system for all our meetings to be hosted and all our paperwork to come to us and everything, correct?
That would be correct, but the agenda item that's there is to basically create a new website using Municode
Okay,
that's consistent with our code of ordinances.
okay,
In addition, we talked at our last workshop meeting about moving from Granicus to the Municode software for agenda minutes.
Right.
It would
Yeah.
cut that expense from 12,000 to 6,000 annually.
okay, yes.
When you search, you go into the website and you search, it searches minutes, agendas, website, and ordinances all at the same time.
Yes.
So
I've
it's
looked
kind of
at
a cool feature.
Diamond Heads and
Yeah.
still looking at the counties, and I just know the first text we're gonna get is about building another website for $6,000, so I
That-
wanna make
that-
sure.
That is not the cost
We
to
got the
build.
right information.
Yeah, no, that's the annual. They
Yeah,
used to, when I did one before, it was like a $14,000 one-time fee plus the annual.
Yes,
They've gotten rid of the one-time thing.
Okay.
They've learned that you just to deal with us across the country.
yes,
They've gotten rid of the lump sum up front to make it more affordable
yeah.
and just have their annual, basically, maintenance and hosting fees.
So
Now-
it's not a routine maintenance though. They do the lift and then continue the current agreement we have in place now for the routine postings, right?
Yes, the chamber will still be.
Okay, I
our-
thought you were talking about Municode. I want
Oh.
to make sure.
No, the website.
website.
The website overall.
Yeah, I mean, so they would be hosting it, and then we have complete control
We would have
to
control.
upload a PDF, put an emergency alert, change pages, do all that.
And the chamber will still do that when we
They
send
would
it to them?
still have access, yes.
Okay, okay. So they would have
They would have a
access,
user,
and we would be
username,
able
user
to.
passwords the same way.
So this would be a lot more
but-
user-friendly for somebody in our office to do it if we
Absolutely.
had to.
Absolutely.
Now, who owns all of this at the end of the day if we
You
quit
do.
paying $6,000?
You own Y'all do.
Except the passwords, right?
Because we've been
You
here
can look at
before.
the number of
Except the
sites
password.
that-
We own it, but it can't have
I
the
mean,
password.
Yeah.
Municode is built for cities and
Okay.
counties. So the county, by the way, Hancock County just moved to Civic Plus. Civic Plus owns Municode.
Okay,
Civic Plus, the one the county went through, is built for bigger populations. It's got more bells and whistles. It's more expensive.
yeah,
But Hancock County just left Granicus, went to Civic Plus with the website and agenda minutes.
I just wanna make sure in 5
We
years
went and
if we
toured it,
say,
but
I know, right?
we're going to Civic Plus 3, we want everything exported, we get an exported file of our website to take the information with us and not
Yeah.
go through the same debacle we've been through.
And this, I mean,
Twice.
Again, I went to the mayor and asked him, I said, we're creating some work for us. I mean, at the end of the day, it's a better customer service experience.
Oh,
You
it
have
look-
more capacity
It looks
for
nice.
when people
yeah.
call.
Professional.
I mean,
Yes,
it's just-
looks good, and we need to get with the times, I think it's good deal, so, okay, that was my questions on that one. Any other questions on B? Okay, something on C?
Yeah, on
something
C,
like that?
City Works. So we're just getting into a one-year contract with City Works.
So City Works is an annual renewable contract for Public Works. The first one we did was like 11,000. This would add the storeroom, which is basically keeping track of your inventory. So you know exactly how many widgets you have on the shelf. So
Right.
from a tracking perspective, I mean, Debbie's gonna go
Awesome.
nuts with it.
Right.
Mhm.
I mean, you know, but
We might get
it
that one
does-
off our audit finally.
what's that? And it also,
No.
I think, gives 25 users. I mean, it kicks
Okay.
it up, but it's the next step up to be able to give us that inventory piece, especially.
Okay, all right, good.
Is this
When-
what?
So when you pull in a work order,
Mhm.
and you're going out to put in a meter, it's gonna pull it out of the inventory, so your inventory is reducing by one. When you purchase and you stick it in, it's gonna increase your inventory.
Okay.
So there's just some tracking that's very powerful.
Okay,
So
Garrett?
the other thing on this, the assumption was, I never could find, so really the first year is really $20,000
That's what,
because they're giving us a 25% discount.
so basically when we went, because it's taken us a long time to get operational, we had a meeting with their salesperson from Nashville that came down. And I told him, I said, yeah, I realize we implemented this and started in August and we're still, you know, and so we kind of complained a little bit. And so we're not where we need to be. And they kind of made some phone calls and came back and said, look, we can do a 3-year gradual step up
Okay.
to get
Yeah,
to where you
so
gotta go.
just
okay.
Make sure that was really
But
the
it's
big
an
question, why
annual
we'd
deal.
start out
Yeah.
at the lower level and we're increasing
We
every year
asked-
instead of decreasing
We,
every
we
year.
did a little complaining and we asked.
Okay,
said,
awesome.
We're not there yet.
Yep, thank you.
Good, thank you. Any more questions on that?
No, I'm good.
Okay, D and E, Mr. Noblock, you had some questions?
Yeah, I was just a little bit confused on the scope of work. And, let's look at, the D. The parking garage is fine, but I was looking at the paperwork. And, let me see if I can get it pulled up.
Well, if we're gonna talk about the parking garage, I'll save that.
Parking garage is, right now we have,
It's gonna be back there by the dumpster, that corner is dark by the dumpster.
they're gonna, we're gonna remove the street lights we have in there. They're gonna put 3, I think it's 35-foot tall black poles to go up with LED lights on
No,
them.
I'm okay with that. But it says on the lease, there's a lease agreement for 20 units with photo cells.
That's E.
Drink water.
That's on drink water.
No, this is
Oh.
in D. This is the paperwork, it's mixed up in,
Oh, I didn't see that.
and it needs to come out.
Yeah.
Cause this is saying, this is probably for drink water,
Oh, yeah.
They had
and
to
there's a lease
combine.
agreement for
Yep.
20 units
It's combined.
and wire.
Yeah.
And, I just wanna make sure that this isn't signed, cause this is not really a great deal.
I don't know, if we get it for 2,000, 20 units, it'd be a great deal.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, but you add up to 7-year cost on there,
I
man.
know, I'm kidding,
yeah,
kidding.
yep. I think we might, would your recommendation be just see what a contractor come in and charge us to put the?
No, the poles are fine. The pricing on the poles is good.
Okay.
The light fixtures
Think
is
it's just
good.
the wrong-
But if that's the drink water thing, then that needs to come out.
Yeah.
That one, I guess, Gary, goes with E.
Yeah.
Okay.
It does. It says 149 drink water for the service address
Right.
on the 20 units. So
Okay,
it looks like
so-
it just got scanned or saved altogether
Okay.
under
So,
C. But
let's
the other
move
one
to
is
E.
3 lights at 119 a month recurring.
Yeah.
So the service fee is 119 per
Total.
per fixture?
No, total.
For how long?
Minimum of 3 years.
And that's for the parking garage lights,
Yep.
them 3.
That's, yes. And
So how
20-something hundred is the wiring.
So how long does Mississippi Power, don't they have to guarantee the workmanship for 1 year?
That
Well,
should come
I
with
think they're
it.
gonna keep them working, cause it's their lights, isn't it?
Yes.
I mean, what I'm getting at is that the fixtures themselves probably come with a manufacturer warranty of 5 years.
Yeah.
Usually, most things on a municipal basis usually has like a 1-year warranty on them. So why would we pay a service fee now unless it was after the 1 year? I just think that,
The service fee, the one-time cost,
no, that they have a monthly service fee.
119.
the 119.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yes, that's for the poles. The 2,200 and what, 56, that's to come in and rewire the parking garage for the lights. And then the 119 is for the poles and the lights.
Oh, that's the cost of the lights to run.
Yes,
Okay, I got you.
yes.
Okay, so we can move on, I understand it, so we can move on to E.
E.
So we have the light fixtures, correct?
We have the light fixtures, but they don't have the sensors on them.
That's right, you need a lighting contact switch
Yes.
to run it. So how come they're not gonna lease these lights back to us, right?
No,
Okay.
this is just an install price.
Okay.
So that's a one-time,
The one-time, this is a one-time
99.57.
fee.
no recurring monthly.
And, okay, I'm good with that.
Okay. All right.
I see you got 2 bids on it. The second bid was lower. I mean.
It's a little bit lower, I think. That's using our truck and maybe our guy helping,
Okay.
and that was the only thing. Yeah.
So which one's y'all's recommendation?
Mississippi Power.
Okay. 75, okay.
Okay, I'm good.
All right, you good? All right, any other discussion on any of the consent agenda items?
So, yeah, I guess back to what Gary was saying about the price difference. It was a significant price difference, right? 2,300 to 9,000.
No, he's
No,
got
no,
2.
7,500.
No, no,
He's
Oh,
got,
it's 2 of them. Yeah,
one's for the photo cell and the lighting
Scroll down, yeah.
contactor.
I
Which
think the
starts-
photos, yeah.
The
Total
cost.
sales
for
like
those.
20-something hundred?
Yep.
Yeah, they're expensive.
23, yep, all right, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Thank you.
so,
And the other one's the labor to put them up.
yeah,
Yeah.
so,
It's pretty close, I mean, here,
Yep.
yeah, so you're really close.
You gotta add them both up.
Stay what you got,
Yeah,
It's,
yeah.
it's
yes.
pretty.
And we don't have to get involved, cause we don't have
Nope.
time.
Cause Mississippi Power don't do it. They give it right to Weaver.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, okay. Any further discussion? Do I have a motion for the consent agenda? Items A through 0, motion, Mr. Seal. Do I have a second?
second.
Second, Mr. Lewis.
A through P?
A through 0, A through O, I'm sorry.
I've got a P on
P.
mine.
I got a printed agenda, let me click on
I
here.
got a Q.
Motion to spread the Bay St. Louis grant rebates and donation revenue detail.
Grant revenues report.
Year-to-date report on the minutes.
Okay,
It's a grant revenue report.
that wasn't on my printed copy, I'm sorry, so A through P.
Yep.
Okay. Motion, Mr. Seal, second, Mr. Lewis. Any further discussion? Vote to motion.
Aye.
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 Aye. Motion passes 5-0.
Thank you.
All right. Minutes approval from the city council, second regular meeting, June 20th, 2023 at 5:30 PM.
I booked, minutes for June 20th, that wasn't at the 29th meeting. It
Okay.
has not changed. Good job, Caitlin.
All right. Okay. Motion, Mr. Seal, do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Hoffman. Any further discussion? Vote to motion.
Aye.
Aye.
Sorry, son.
Aye. Motion
Aye.
motion passes 5-0.
Just to June 20th.
I guess we have no, attorney.
That was just June 20th. I didn't read the 29th. I wasn't here.
Yeah, okay. My printed agenda's old. I better look at my computer, huh? All right. Motion to approve the minutes of June 29th, 2023.
Motion.
Motion, Mr. Hoffman. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Lewis. Any further discussion? Vote to motion.
Aye.
Nay.
Aye.
Wait, what are you voting on?
The 29th.
The minutes from June.
The workshop.
I wasn't here for the 29th workshop,
From
so
the
I
work,
didn't.
Okay,
the
okay.
budget workshop.
I thought there was something wrong with them.
Yeah,
No,
no.
no.
Okay.
It was
Aye.
different. I didn't.
Aye. Motion passes.
Oh, wait, I wasn't at the workshop. Nay.
Workshop tomorrow night, 5:30.
All right, motion passes 3-2. You got
Y'all
that,
could abstain.
Caitlin?
You don't have to nay.
Yeah,
Whatever I need.
we don't have no
Whatever it
attorney's
takes.
report tonight, no closed session. I did forget to bring up one thing in council business. Can we try to get the parking garage more visible? I went down the other day and it was empty. We have no real signage on the road pointing to it. It's sitting back 150 feet. It's not lit up, like we discussed the lights just now, but we need signs, I think, on Toomey and Main underneath the stop sign saying free parking garage ahead with an arrow. Same thing on Second Street stop sign.
No, we have it on
Chief, you
corner
got
court.
something? Yeah. Okay.
Some neon.
We almost need some small lighted signs or
Yeah,
something,
that's what I'm saying.
like when you pull up to Main Street with an arrow pointing to your right, and then lit up also at Court Street pointing to your right from the beach, because they had more people parked in the new
Yeah.
paved parking lot the other day. I started at 1 o'clock, and the second floor of the parking garage was completely empty, because nobody's seen it back there, so they're riding down and going to it.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what I say, it was getting full.
And then they also paved over there, across from the courthouse, that strip right there.
Yeah.
And so, that's all.
Yeah.
Mhm.
The garage just needs more visibility. The locals know about it, the tourists aren't finding it, they're struggling,
Got
so.
a quick question on the budget meetings. On the paper I got, July 6th, July 16th, and July 20th. July 16th is a Sunday. When's that supposed to be? Just from
I
last
think
meeting, I guess?
That was given,
Whatever the Thursdays are.
Well, 6th, 13th, and 20th, which is in a Thursday.
13, 20 are all Thursdays.
Okay, it says 6th, 16th, and 20th on here.
7. July 13th,
You're
July
not coming on
20th.
Sunday?
August 8th.
20. Which one do you have?
August 8th is a Tuesday.
Oh, it's on the agenda?
Yeah,
The one he got
Oh.
for
Yeah, it's supposed
tonight.
to be the 6, 13, and
that was
20.
for the budget workshop agenda for last week.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Okay, so 13th, all right.
That was supposed to be it's the Thursdays. Boom,
Okay.
boom, boom.
April.
6/13/20.
It was right last week, cause I gotta put it in my calendar.
I know, that's why I'm trying to update my calendar, so I'm like, I know it ain't Sunday.
So we'll get to see y'all again tomorrow, huh?
Yep.
Okay,
Sounds good.
yep, deal. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Motion, Mr. Hoffman, second, Mr. Seal, to adjourn. Vote the motion.
Aye.
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 Motion passes 5-0. Thank y'all.
Aye,
you.
bye-bye.